You are Sir Graham, the bravest and most honorable knight in the troubled realm of Daventry. King Edward the Benevolent, aged ruler of Daventry, has summoned you to the castle for reasons unknown.
Greetings, Sir Graham. The King is expecting you. Allow me to escort you to His Majesty's throne room.
Thank you, Sir Knight.
Raise the portcullis.
I am at your service, my king.
I am an old man, Sir Graham. Perhaps too old to carry the weight of this crown. My bones ache and my hands tremble. I am afraid my time on earth grows short. But enough about me. Great misfortunes have befallen Daventry since the loss years ago of 3 magical treasures. I have chosen you, the finest knight in all of Daventry, to search for these lost treasures. Only then can this kingdom be restored to its former glory. And only then may I rest with the knowledge that my people are safe. The first treasure is a magic mirror that foretells the future. The second is a magical shield that protects the bearer from all mortal harm. The third and last is an enchanted chest that is forever filled with gold. I know that what I ask is difficult, nay, perhaps impossible. The dangers are many, but you are brave and pure of heart. That is why I chose you to volunteer. If you succeed, you will inherit my crown and rule the realm of Daventry as her rightful king. Go, Sir Graham, and know that the fate of Daventry lies in your hands.
Take heart, my king. I shall not fail you.
You have disabled dead ends. The game will be fully played. The portcullis is the only entrance to the king's castle. It's you, Sir Graham, the finest knight in all of Daventry. These guards protect the king's castle. The castle walls are carpeted with a thick tangle of vines. You are standing outside King Edward's castle, which is surrounded by a serpent-filled moat. This deep, swampy moat is patrolled by vicious serpents. These beautiful urns adorn the front of the castle. You are standing. Don't disturb the guards. Best to get on with your mission. You reconsider the wisdom of returning to King Edward without having recovered Daventry's 3 lost treasures. There's The monsters appreciate your good taste. You have these beautiful. You are standing out. Massive turrets from which the guards can defend the castle stretch to the sky above. You are standing outside King. A sturdy stone bridge has been built here to span the moat. A sturdy... You never know what sort of fierce creatures lie just beneath the surface of the moat. You are stand... That's strange. You wouldn't want to dive into the serpent-filled moat. To avoid injury, this rock is less distinctive than the one next to it. You see a large gray rock. You're in a shady forest clearing. A large rock rests in the middle of the clearing. There is a dense grove of trees here. You're in a shady... There is a... With a small shove, you manage to push the rock a few feet, revealing a shallow hole underneath. There is an intricately carved dagger in the hole. You reach into the hole and grasp the dagger, being careful not to cut yourself. Be careful, Sir Graham. You might cut yourself. This is not a good... That... There is an enormous oak tree growing here, its branches reaching up into the sky. The tiny bushes and shrubs pale in comparison to the giant oak standing nearby. A small thicket of unimpressive white birch trees grows here. There is an enormous oak tree growing here. The tiny bushes and shrubs pale in... This is the biggest oak tree you've ever seen. Its trunk seems to be about 10 feet around, and the thick, sturdy branches look like they could hold many times your weight. Finding plenty of footholds in the coarse bark of the tree, you easily clamber up the trunk to the branches above. Far out on a huge branch, there is a nest. You're too far away from the nest to see it clearly. You're up here in the tree. The main trunk is bent enough to allow you to walk carefully along its length. The leaves and branches hide the ground from view. This is You can't. You can't. You carefully lift the golden egg out of the nest. This is a fine silver dagger with a very sharp edge. You can't read the runes on the blade, but it appears to be an elfish dagger of great antiquity. You are holding a lovely golden egg. This is one egg that definitely won't be so easy to crack. Be careful, Graham. That blade is very sharp. A huge wooden door has been built into the base of a steep mountain. You notice a large keyhole in the door. The huge door is locked. You can't open it. This is a miniature shade tree, which gives shade to the squirrels and other woodland creatures. Long, low bushes grow unbounded throughout Daventry. That's strange. You don't get an answer. Curiously, a large door has been built into the steep mountainside. Curiously. The squirrel seems hesitant about climbing its favorite walnut tree with you standing around. This large, healthy tree is chock full of plump walnuts. There's a large walnut tree surrounded by several pine trees. It looks like a walnut of some sort. You choose a big, meaty-looking walnut from the bunch scattered around. You are holding an ordinary walnut. When you open the walnut, you discover the nut inside is pure gold. When you open the gold walnut feels slightly heavier than an average walnut. These are just 2 garden variety pine trees with nothing to offer but shade. There are trees. There appears to be some sort of bowl sitting next to the tree. You pick up the bowl. Inscribed on the inside of this empty ceramic bowl is the word fill. To your astonishment, something begins to bubble up from the bottom of the bowl. Within moments, the bowl is filled with a hot, savory stew. Flourishing pine trees abound in this part of the forest. A very ordinary boulder sits here. If you've seen one bush, you've seen them all. There are an endless variety of trees in Daventry. None of the ones you can see here seem the least bit unusual. There are an lovely On this side of the lake, the banks are low and rocky. On this side, lush pine trees ring the lake. Small bushes like this one thrive near the fresh lake water. Wandering along the banks of the beautiful lake, you see a cute little elf. This is the small elf seems friendly enough. You should. That's straight. That's straight. You should get. That's straight. The elf is impressed by your friendliness and responds by handing you an elegant little ring.
I've had me eye on ye, Sir Graham. Methinks you might enjoy this little trinket. For just a wee bit of time, it has the power to make ye invisible. May it give ye as much entertainment as ye has given me this day.
With that, the elf vanishes. Lush pine. This is a well-tended carrot patch. The carrots look tempting to a hungry traveler. You pluck a plump orange carrot from the ground. This is a well-tended carrot patch. The carrots look tempting to a hungry traveler. Some low, lush green bushes are growing at the base of the trees. A patch of pretty flowers has been planted near the garden just for decoration. Lovely trees grow near the carrot patch. You see a brick border surrounding a well-kept garden. This is a serene mountain lake with a small beach of pebbles on its edge. This is a serene. The water. You grab some pebbles. You have 5 smooth, rounded pebbles. They feel rock solid. The only rocks of interest are some small pebbles on the beach. There are many lush trees surrounding the lake. The water. That's strange. The roots of the trees are entwined around this craggy cluster of rocks. This is a serene mountain lake. In the woods to the north, you can just see what looks like an old stone well. This is a. You're in a quiet part of the forest. There's an old rotted stump here. A distinctively common tree sits near the shore of the lake. From here, you can see that the stump is very old and rotting away. A dark hole at the top catches your attention. There's a hole in the side of the log. You peer into the darkness inside the log, but there's nothing at all inside. You should look into dark holes before putting your hand down them, Sir Graham. Inside the rotting stump, you notice a small leather pouch. As you lift the pouch from the stump, you feel its contents shifting inside. When you peek inside the leather pouch, you discover it's filled with diamonds. Cautiously, you open the pouch and see many sparkling and flashing diamonds. Quickly, you close it again so as not to lose any. You see a clear blue lake surrounded by a pretty meadow. Some pretty flowering bushes grow in a bunch near the lake's edge. Some pretty There are still a few graceful pines near the woodcutter's cottage. An old axe is permanently wedged into the tree stump. The handle has been broken and repaired. The head shows the signs of many sharpenings. The trees were cut from these stumps years ago. You see a cottage in shambles. It saddens you to think that somebody might still live here. It was made from rough hand-hewn logs long ago. Lately, the upkeep has faltered. There are even holes in the roof. It was made from rough... Just walk. The woodcutter speaks to you, his voice broken with sorrow.
We would welcome you to our home, Sir Knight, but we've had no food for so long. My beautiful wife cannot even rise from her bed. I fear she may die soon.
A woman is laying in bed, pale and still. Her husband is seated on the bed, staring blankly at her pale face. An old earthenware pitcher sits on the table. There is a rickety old cupboard on the wall. The woodcutter's most treasured possession, a fine old fiddle, lies on the table. A large fire burns merrily in the fireplace, providing some warmth in the drafty old cottage. The woodcutter, still gazing, is overwhelmed with joy.
Thank you, Sir Knight. We shall never forget your kindness and generosity. Please, take my fiddle as a small token of our thanks.
This is the woodcutter's old fiddle. The fine old fiddle has been beautifully carved.
Thank you, Sir Knight.
The woodcutter's wife is too polite to speak with her mouth full. You cannot. The cupboard is empty. You warm your hands by the crackling fire. The murky water of this swampy lake looks very uninviting. The huge snake is watching you very closely, and its intentions are less than friendly. This small swamp, with its twisted trees and slimy water, has an eerie feel to it. This small swamp There's no way you're getting that close to the snake. Chocolate chip cookies are stuck to the wall in various places around the cupcake house. This is the most marvelous house you've ever seen. It seems like it's made of a huge gingerbread cupcake with frosting for a roof. The chimney is made of gummy bricks. The door is made of chocolate. The fence is made of candy canes. And sour ball stones and gumdrops are scattered around the yard. The path to the front door is lined with little gingerbread boys and girls. The path to the front door. This is... As you begin to eat the house, a squeaky voice from somewhere says,
Nibble, nibble, little mouse, who is nibbling at my house?
Chocolate chip cookies are stuck to the wall in As you knock on the chocolate door, a squeaky voice from inside the house answers,
Who is there? I love visitors, especially young tender ones. Come in, come in.
Oh no, she's cast some kind of spell to keep you from escaping.
Oh, how nice of you to come for dinner.
The witch looks you over carefully.
You're a little too scrawny for my appetite, but I think you're going to make a lovely dessert.
The witch has turned you into a gingerbread man. Or is that a graham cracker? As you begin,
Nibble.
there is no answer from inside the house. You see a note on the table by the bed. You grab the note from the table. There is a message written on the note. Sometimes it is wise to think backwards. The paper feels ordinary. Off in the distance, you hear a high, squeaky voice.
I can smell someone tasty in my house.
This ugly old witch is one of the most hideous sights you have ever seen. Her eyes are dark and evil, and her crooked smile twitches hungrily. She's not to be trusted. The witch's bed looks hard and uncomfortable. You can't get close enough for a good look while the witch is there.
I'm going to get my cauldron ready to cook someone for dinner. Yum. After I get the cauldron nice and hot, I'll be ready to have someone for dinner.
In contrast to its delightful exterior, the inside of the gingerbread, the witch's bed, you can't get close enough.
The cauldron is heating up nicely. I wonder who will be my dinner guest.
Now is not. With a mighty shove, you courageously push the wicked witch into the pot. Her wild screams are suddenly cut off as she melts away into the oily green slime. Congratulations! As the green liquid is terribly goopy, the fire must have been burning underneath it for quite some time. Did you see that? Nah, you're imagining things. As the green liquid is the pot is hot enough to burn your hand. The fire must have been burning for a long time. Sitting on the shelf is a delicious piece of Swiss cheese. You take the cheese from the cabinet. This is an extremely The cheese has enough holes already without you poking more into it. The cage is made from strong. Since there's no door here, you don't have anything to open. That's strange. That's strange. You peer into the darkness. After the deep well dissolves quick. The rope is wound around the crank, hanging above the well. The old bucket. The stones of this ancient well are nearly crumbling. This weathered old bucket has served the kingdom for years and years. It still holds water as well as it did on the day it was made. After you are in the there's You cut the rope using the dagger and take the old bucket. Without warning, a wolf darts out of the bushes and runs straight for you. Look out! How many times have you been told not to wolf down your food? You cut the rope using There are numerous beautiful trees ringing the goat pen. The goat pen is crudely made of small planks of wood. At the other end you see a gate. The goat pen is crude. This is the goat's trough, currently empty. Goats are always hungry. There's Very clever. You tempt the goat with a carrot, and he begins to follow you around. You've made a friend. You had better wait for the goat. As you start to cross the bridge, a huge, hulking troll stomps into view and blocks your way. It is a well-known fact that goats hate trolls intensely. You move aside and let the goat take care of this wretched, nasty troll. The goat lowers his head and runs straight for the troll, butting him right off the bridge and into the river below. That's the last you'll see of that troll. The raging current pulls you under, never to be found. You see a wizened old gnome sitting in front of his house, whittling. This is the gnome's spinning wheel. There is a small pile of straw here. This is a pile of gold. This little island is quiet and peaceful. This hole, hollowed into the side of the tree, is the entrance to the gnome's home. It's too dark inside to make out any details, and the gnome probably prefers it that way.
Welcome, Sir Graham. I've been expecting you. I'll give you 3 guesses. What is my name? That's right! Outstanding! I didn't think you were that clever. As a reward for your sharp intellect, here are some beans. They're no ordinary beans, but it's up to you to find out why. Somebody as smart as yourself should have no problem at all. Well, step over here so I can give them to you. Here you are. Good luck on your quest.
You are holding a handful of small beans. Your hands take on a tingling sensation when you touch the magical beans. You can What a pretty bed of wildflowers! You plant the magical beans in the fertile soil. Suddenly, something incredible begins to happen. This mighty beanstalk stretches up so high, it vanishes into the clouds above. The view of Daventry from up here is stunning. There are gently rolling hills and valleys as far as the eye can see. Off in the distance, clouds float far above the land. In the distance and far above you can see heavy, dense clouds in streaks across the sky. You think they're cumulus clouds, but it's been a long time since you went to Daventry High School. In the distance and far above you, the view of Daventry from up here is stunning. There are gently rolling. There's no. There are clouds all around you. You can see neither the land below nor the top of the beanstalk above you. In fact, there's very little to see up here at all, except clouds. Next time, keep your feet on the ground and your head out of the clouds. Thick, puffy clouds can be found everywhere you look up here, as you might expect. You are in the land of the clouds. It is rumored that a giant lives up here. These weirdly shaped trees tower over you. There is nothing up there you'll need. The colossal, weirdly shaped trees loom far overhead. There is a small dark hole. You see a slingshot in the hole. You reach into the hole and pull out the leather slingshot. From outside, you can see the entrance to a cave carved into the side of the mountain. You're on top of the clouds. You place the shimmering ring upon your finger. As you rub it, you turn invisible. The enormous giant has been carrying that heavy chest for longer than he can remember. You are the enormous The giant is getting tired of looking for you. Seems like he may be getting ready to take a nap. Good job! The huge giant, tuckered out from stomping around, has fallen fast asleep. The giant is asleep with a chest lying next to him. It is not. It is. It is. There is a. Slowly, carefully, you take the chest without waking the giant. This magic chest, one of the 3 lost treasures of Daventry, is always filled with gold coins. You are dazzled by the countless supply of gold coins spilling from the magic chest. You quickly close the chest. You remove the ring of it is Suddenly, a small dwarf runs out of the shadows and approaches you. The sneaky little dwarf. You place the. Since you are invisible, you remove. This is a heavy oaken door set into the side of the cave. The cave appears to open up into a larger chamber that reaches deep into the mountain. As you reach out to open the door, the only response you get is the echo of your pounding. The rope disappears into the darkness. There's the cold. This chest is waterlogged and useless. You don't need it. This chest. Well, well, well. What are you gonna do now? The cold The cave is... You are too far away. This looks like typical well water. You kneel down and fill the bucket with the cool water. Green and scaly, the dragon is massive and muscular. Serrated armor stretches from its tail to its neck. His leathery wings are folded against his sides, and his webbed claws look sharp and deadly. The ferocious fire-breathing dragon is protecting the magic mirror. The ferocious fire-breathing dragon. The mirror shimmers with its own magical light. This boulder is a huge chunk of granite. Greed at the mirror. You'll have to do something. Think again. Greed and Think again. By venturing too close to the dragon's flame, you made an ash out of yourself. Good shot! The water hits the dragon square in the face, dousing his fire. Unable to defend itself with anything more than harmless clouds of steam, the dragon rolls aside the granite boulder and slinks off in shame, leaving the mirror behind. This boulder is a huge chunk of granite. You take the magic mirror. Congratulations! This is the magic mirror, one of the 3 treasures of Daventry. The magic... You kneel down and fill the bucket with the cool water. This is a large, apparently vacant cave. Damp and cool, the cave is lit only by the sunlight streaming in through the cave's entrance to the west. This is a The grass dies off suddenly at this point, and the ground turns to hard clay, stretching east into a dark, barren area of the forest. A few scrawny specimens of vegetation struggle to grow beside the wall of rock. A large cave is at the edge of this meadow. This is one of The trees are somewhat sparse here at the foot of the Rocky Mountain. A large cave is at the edge of this meadow. A large With a mighty leap, you grab hold of the condor's talons. The steep face of the cliff is sheer, featureless rock. There is a hole in this part of the meadow. Don't be afraid. Get closer. There is a hole in this part of the meadow. This is a raging river filled with massive boulders and treacherous whitewater rapids. The raging current pulls you under. A large bulbous mushroom grows in the meadow. An old tree hangs over the river's rapids. Far in the distance, you can see the spires and turrets of King Edward's castle. This is a wild and You pick the mushroom. You are standing in a shadowy cavern. This cave is murky and damp and smells of mold and rotted leaves. These rock formations were slowly created over thousands of years. A shaft of sunlight from above pierces the gloom of the cave. You are standing in a There is a single torch on the wall, illuminating the shadowy cave. The torch is too hot to touch. That's strange. There is a single This is a big, hungry-looking rat with slavering jaws and long, sharp claws. These rock formations. There is a single Keeping in mind the rat's remarkable agility and even more remarkable fangs, you decide not to risk an
Hello there, my friend. Are you looking for anything in particular? You wanna pass through my little door here, right? Well, maybe we can work something out. What's it worth to you? Hey, friend, you wanna go through this door? Make me an offer, and I'll promise I'll let you breeze right through.
The rat grins crookedly, his long, pointed fangs glistening in the torchlight.
That's right, mister. Just walk a little closer.
Rats! This was one shady character you shouldn't have tangled with.
Come a little closer. Come a little. Hello there, my friend. You wanna pass? Well, cheese, eh? Well, yeah, now that you mention it, I guess I am kinda hungry.
The rat drools at the sight of the cheese and snatches it from your hand. You might want to count your fingers. It looks like a sturdy old door. This looks like a bad situation. Perhaps you should do something. They are tiny people. Carved into the top of this stone pillar is a huge four-leaf clover. Apparently, the leprechauns who inhabit this underground sanctuary greatly fear and respect the power of the four-leaf clover. Carved into the top, they are tiny people dressed all in green. That's straight, that's straight, that's straight. The guards catch you. You spend the rest of your days peeling potatoes for the king of the leprechauns. nothing. Wonderful job! Leprechauns find fiddle music irresistible. The moment they hear the music, they begin dancing a frenzied jig. Finally, swept away by the snappy music, the leprechaun guards zap right out of the room. Overhearing the fiddle music you played in the hallway, the leprechauns have begun to dance. As they do, they pop away in a fit of merrymaking. The scepter is fashioned from gold and silver and accented with emeralds. The shield is made of titanium and is rimmed with jewels. These rock formations were slowly created over thousands of years. This is the throne room of the Leprechaun King. There is a scepter. Please don't move the carpet. It hides the dandelion wine stains on the floor. You take the Leprechaun King's jeweled scepter. You don't have time to sit on the throne, Sir Graham. You take the magic shield. Congratulations! The small hole. You are much too big to fit through that small hole. Careful. You eat the mushroom. Congratulations! You now have all three of Daventry's lost treasures. Now, don't waste any time. Bring the treasures straight back to King Edward before it's too late. There's An unusual clover glistens in the middle of the patch. You pick a large four-leaf clover from the patch. You are standing. That's odd. Why aren't the guards at their posts? More curious still, the courtyard is deserted. This area is usually filled with the ladies and lords of the castle. This is highly unusual. You begin to feel deeply disturbed, as if all is not right within the castle. You can faintly hear a commotion in the king's chamber to the west.
There is nothing to be done. Oh, our king's melancholy is too much for us heart to bear. If only Sir Graham had returned with the 3 lost treasures of Daventry.
It's Sir Graham.
He's returned.
Did he find the treasures? Shh. Listen.
Your Highness, I am at your service.
Did you succeed in your quest?
I did, Your Majesty. Here, as you commanded, the magic mirror, the magic shield, and the magic chest.
I'm afraid it is a little too late for me, but you have done superbly, my knight. As I promised, the crown is yours. I know you will serve this kingdom well.
The king is dead. Long live the king! Long live the king!
And thus ended Sir Graham's quest for the lost treasures of Daventry. Despite the loss of their beloved King Edward, the people of Daventry grew happy and prosperous for years to come. And whenever King Graham looked into his magic mirror, he saw visions of adventures yet to come for him, for his children, and for Daventry, the land he loved so much.